Hey everyone, we are live for our Sunday Weekly Warmup show. This is exclusive in our private Facebook group because we want to find an opportunity every single week as we're getting ready to wrap up the weekend and head into another successful week with students to give you a space to collaborate, not only to learn from the people that join us every single week, but also to learn from the incredible people, over 7,000 educators that are active in our private Facebook group over at teachbettergroup.com. And so on Sundays, we stream here so we can talk shop, ask questions, and set the tone for a positive week ahead. We have a lot in store, and I will give you full updates on everything when we get right back. Hey everyone, my name is Rae Hughart. We are live for our Sunday Weekly Warmup, and as you know, it's usually not just me. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Before we get to that, I do want to wish you a happy Sunday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you to those of you who are already in the chat saying hello. It's so good to see you. Not only hello to me, which I always value, but hello to each other, because this is completely an opportunity for us all to come together with this Teach Better family and kick the week off strong. So happy Sunday. Happy November 6th. We had a lot of tech issues today, so I'm so sorry. We are coming to you live a little late, about 6 minutes late, so I apologize for that. Typically, the show starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we love being able to come together with guests and obviously with the one and only Brad Hughes. Unfortunately, we had tech issues, so we are not going to be able to bring a very special guest to you, but we hope to rebook him and hope to bring you a new face to add to your PLN every single week. And then Brad Hughes is not feeling well and needed to take some time to get healthy. Amen. So please make sure you send Brad Hughes all your love and energy and support, because if that is not the hardest working person in education, I don't know who is. I know he has been juggling not only his full-time job as an incredible principal, but obviously also his role with the team and his wonderful family. So sickness is never any fun. So I'm so sorry you just get me today. And I thought that we would come live to talk shop for a little bit. Obviously, for the show, for our Sunday Weekly Warm-Up, we love to have a topic that we are discussing with you. And I have something special that I think would be interesting for us to dive into. It's actually a topic I presented on this last week with a number of different leadership teams that came together in Illinois specifically. So I thought we'd dive into that a little bit. But then if you guys have any questions, if you guys have any problems of practice that you want us to talk about, talk shop, not only again with me, but also within the comments, this is a great space to do that. So maybe you're sitting on your couch on a Sunday evening, maybe you've already had dinner or it's already cooking in the oven, and you are thinking through, all right, friends, what's ahead of the week for me? What do I need to brainstorm? Maybe you're struggling with a student that you're struggling to reach, or a parent that you want to make sure feels better supported. Maybe you're planning a next really epic unit that you want to share. This is a fun opportunity for you to ask those questions and maybe get a few more brains in the problem solving. So feel free to use this as a space to do that, not only during our live show, but anytime that you want. Feel free to come over to our group. And obviously, if you're here with us live commenting, I see Liv, I see Stacy, Brittany's in here, Brianne, all of our friends. If you're in here commenting, you are already in our private Facebook group. But if you're watching this after the fact or listening to the Teach Better Talk podcast, you can join that Facebook group over at teachbettergroup.com. It's completely free. So before we get into our discussion, I thought I'd give you some gossip for the week. And then we'll get into kind of a fun topic for us to get into. Cool that we're making connections in the comments of where we're all located. It's always fun to connect with somebody that actually lives in your community or somebody that lives all the way across the country. As far as gossip, what I got for you. Okay, first of all, Katie's going on vacation this week, so that's kind of fun. I know a lot of you are connected to Katie Miglin. She's taking a fun little anniversary trip this week, so we'll make sure to follow her Instagram to see all those pictures. I got an update from Jeff Gargis. He is feeling better and better every single day. I know many of you have been sending Jeff Gargis some incredible notes. He has been ill for the last few weeks, so he has not necessarily joined us live, but he is slowly but surely heading back into his regular role. So over the next few weeks, I'm really hoping that you get to see him. What other gossip can I give you? It was a gloomy day here in Illinois. 60s, kind of rainy, but was able to get out and hang out with the dogs for a bit, which is always fun. And then the other thing I've really enjoyed is it's November 6th. I'm still showing up on my newsfeed all the things you all have done for Halloween. So continue to post those family photos. I feel like for me personally, living in the States, it's now transitioned where everybody's talking about Christmas and everyone's preparing for Thanksgiving. And I've still yet to see a full plan for my own Thanksgiving. So if anybody has Thanksgiving plans, if they want to give me some ideas, that'd be great. I feel like I'm juggling a few different family responsibilities. And to be honest, the Teach Better team is traveling a bunch the week of Thanksgiving, Monday and Tuesday specifically, because we have schools that don't have students but have their staff. And so it's a lot of professional development that week that I'm trying to work around. So it's kind of fun. Good to see everybody here. And it looks like Liv even got a snow day today. No way. I don't believe, and I'm saying this, I know there's like some gray area, but I don't believe we've had our first snow here. I'm in Chicago. I love the first snow. I think there's something so special about the first snow. We've not had it here yet. So I'm a little jealous, Liv, that you've gotten to see some beautiful snow. I'd love to see if you were able to share a picture maybe of the snow you got. I'm hoping we don't get any snow this week. I'm actually traveling to go see my sister at the end of the week in San Diego, and I really hope it's not snowing there. So maybe when I get back, though, I could be ready for a great like snowy afternoon. Those are always so special. I love a good snow. So let us know how it's going. Yes, exactly. Brianne's commenting in the comments. Gilmore Girls, I smell snow. Totally true. Every year there's just something special. But I know not all of us are ready for that yet. And I know that so many people, we've discussed this in the past, have a rule about when you can start celebrating the winter holidays like Christmas and everything that comes with that. I will admit, as many times as you need, I am a sucker. I don't celebrate Christmas myself, but I love the season. And I've actually spent a lot of time in the hospital the last few days because my grandma is ill, but she's doing better. But so truly, my last week and a half of hanging out with her in her hospital room has been watching like terrible Hallmark Christmas movies. That has been just comical because her and I have been able to just gossip about how all the actors are the same in all the movies. There's always a very, very similar storyline. And yet we watch them over and over and over. So if you're a Hallmark movie Christmas lover, I'd love to see it in the comments. I know not all of us celebrate that holiday. I completely understand that not all of us maybe love a great Christmas Hallmark movie, but I'm like such a sucker. So especially it's great when you have nothing else to do, right? When you're just sitting and just needing your body to heal. What a great thing to like see a goofy little love story. So excited to hear your Hallmark movie votes, either yay or nay, depending on your preferences. Let's get into some discussion today. Hey friends, my name is Rae Hughart. We are here for our Sunday Weekly Warmup. And as we get into our discussion today, we really love to have Sundays be an opportunity for us to ask questions to one another, but then also take a little moment for ourselves to set us up for a successful week. Obviously, as you know, we have other things that the team does throughout the week to support you, one of which you might be familiar with. We have a live stream on Wednesday mornings to kind of give you some energy, a little bit of boost to power through midweek. But Sundays, I think, are an opportunity for something special. Our hope is always that you had a relaxing, fulfilling, family and friend-filled weekend. And as you're slowly easing out of that energy and headed into the exciting week ahead, we want to make sure that those Sunday scaries go away and you're able to see your week as a productive opportunity to really have an incredible impact, because educators have an opportunity every single day to change a student's lives. And we love to be able to give you the tools and resources to be as successful as possible. I know so many of you have shared with me that it's been a challenging year. And unfortunately, I know that's been a narrative for quite some time. I'd love to focus our time today on a topic that I was actually asked to speak about on Friday. So I'm going to give you a little context. I'm going to give you a resource that I'd like you to go check out. And then our hope is that we can have some conversation. So thank you for continuously being active in the chat. It's always good to kind of have that extra boost of dialogue going on, not only for me, but I know for all of you. So earlier this week, I had an educator reach out from a company called Tech and Learning. If you're not familiar, I really, really would encourage you to go check out their website. It's got to be like techandlearning.org or techandlearning.com. Go look it up. I don't know all of the things that this company does, but one of the things I really have enjoyed is their blog. Obviously, I know a lot of you read the Teach Better blog. We publish like blogs every single day over at teachbetter.com/blogs, but you can't just only consume on one website. So Tech and Learning has always been a site that I like to go to see what is being talked about in education. They really believe in a research-based approach similar to the Teach Better team. So I really have found trusted authors to be writing there. And I had somebody reach out and ask if I would share a little bit at a summit they were having on Friday. So within this incredible organization, so to speak, like I said, I don't know everything about them, but I know that their blog's great. They hosted some sort of like Northern Illinois, Northern Midwest Summit. And it just so happened, completely coincidentally, to be in my backyard in Naperville, Illinois. So when she reached out and asked, I was like, how could I say no? It's like 10 minutes from my house. So it seemed silly to not be able to pop over and like hang out with great educators. So I arrived there, found out kind of a little bit more about what it was. It was a regional summit, and it was essentially full of directors, assistant superintendents, and superintendents in major districts across the area that I live in, all the way up through Wisconsin, all the way into Indiana. It was just, the region. And what these leaders were getting together to discuss actually changed every hour. So they were there the entire day, and the professional development that they led really was driven on two different things. One is discussing extremely relevant topics that are relevant to our leadership in our school districts. And the other was ensuring that there was a lot of collaborative work time, that educators were not just there to sit and consume, but they were there to really network with one another, build connections, and also build their insight in these variety of topics. They had a few different vendors or sponsors that were there. Some of them I knew, some of them I didn't. And it essentially was 80 people tops, right? Like super small, intimate group. So when I showed up, they were kind of halfway through their day. I was able to attend after lunch, and I was asked to share on professional development beyond the summit. They really wanted me to come in and facilitate some sort of dialogue to get us thinking about how our leadership could continue to be networking beyond the event that they were at. It was one of their last sessions. And I really love this topic. I don't think we discuss this enough. I know sometimes we discuss it here in this family, but I still think we don't discuss it enough. And I do also believe, right or wrong, that as educators transition from the classroom to a coaching role to possibly a principal role and beyond, I actually think we talk about it less and less. So if you're an educator right now who feels like this topic comes up all the time, I'm thrilled to hear it. I hope that you continue to keep that in the back of your mind as something, even years from now, you keep kind of a pulse on. And it's this concept of being a learner, but more than that. Not just being a learner, like being committed to yourself, learning something new each and every day, right? That's kind of like the Teach Better mindset, right? Better today than we were yesterday and better tomorrow than we were today. But it's more than that. It's more about how we can make connections with others and be a learner in this whole ecosystem of what we now know as education beyond these one-stop shop moments at a conference, how we can continue to foster those relationships and those discussions. So as educators, I know that we commonly over the last, forever, we've been able to walk down the hall and learn from somebody down the hall. Now with the internet and social media and the world that we live in currently, we're obviously able to connect with educators all over the world. And so how can we utilize that to our advantage? So I started out my session kind of storytelling a little bit. For many of you know, I actually met Jeff Gargas, Chad Ostrowski, the other two co-owners of the Teach Better team with me on the internet. It was a random story, and I kind of went into kind of the drama of that story. Some of you I know have heard it, but in simplest form, I logged onto Twitter because I was 1 credit short to finish with my master's degree, and I was in the midst of writing my thesis. And I was like, I am not spending another stinking minute on this master's. Like, get me out of here. I will take whatever course I can sign up for to give me this credit. And the only course that I could sign up for that was still open for enrollment, I was like 2 weeks late into the course, was a technology course. Fine. So I get into this technology course, and the first assignment is to make a professional social media account. And I was like, oh, sounds awful. So I went to twitter.com and I made a social media for the sake of a grade. And then as I went into social media, then there was more and more and more homework from this class about needing to like connect with someone on Twitter or participate in a Twitter chat. And truly, I did not see the value at all. I was just logging in to do the work, snap the photo, submit it to my teacher in academia, and like get me done with this master's. Anyway, I ended up connecting with Dave Burgess, who I know many of you know as an incredible author, as an incredible publisher, and I hosted one of his Twitter chats. I had no business doing this. I didn't even know what a Twitter chat was, much less how to host one. And as I was hosting it, I connected with Jeff Gargas and Chad Ostrowski, now 2 of my best friends. Now we have a company together. Now we actually get to do such incredible work on a daily basis together. And it was all sparked by like 1 tweet that I never knew would change my life. And as I tell this story, I saw these leaders like nodding their head. They're kind of giggling. I think they saw the humor of social media because I know a lot of them were hesitant to be active on social media because of their role in the district, right? When a superintendent tweets something out, it speaks for the district, whether they mean it to or not, just like educators, just like teachers, just like principals, what we say represents our district. And I know that there's like a fad or an opportunity here where people are like, my thoughts are my own. Yeah, obviously. But unfortunately, when we are so directly tied to organizations, this is in business as well. When you speak about something, you are representing your school district, your community, your friends, your family in some regard. And a lot of us find that to be limiting, which I understand. So regardless, the reason I was telling the story to this group was to be able to highlight the fact that making connections is something that can turn into something much more than you ever expected. And so as we kind of giggled about how these connections can turn into something incredible, the first challenge I gave them, and it's the first challenge I'm going to give you. So if you are on your phone or on your laptop, click on the keyboard, get your settings ready. I'm going to ask you to share here. I would love to have you share with us ways that you see yourself making connections. And I'm going to give you some ideas, but if you have an idea already, I do want you to throw it in the chat. So following people on social media or being like active on social media in some way, that must be something that in some way you choose to do because you're watching this on Facebook, or I mean, at least you are in the comments. So if you're in the comments right now, maybe you've decided that Facebook groups like this one or other Facebook or other platforms, might be ways for you to make connections. Kind of cool. Other ways, attending conferences could be a way to make connections. That's like incredibly powerful. Other ideas as you continue to post your ideas in the chat. Listening to podcasts, I think, is a great opportunity for us to learn, but reaching out to those guests and actually connecting with them in some way, either by going to their website and emailing them, or again, social media. That's a great way, is like learning how to connect with people after or following an interview, kind of fun. I heard a lot of people on Friday when we were doing this share about organizations that they're a part of, that they're only a part of those organizations because they want to have some introduction and accessibility to the people that are a part of that organization. And then the last one I heard, which I really liked, I wouldn't have thought of this, was getting into a hobby that had people that you could network with related to your field. So one of the examples a superintendent shared on Friday was that he's a part of some Tough Mudder like group, some running like group. And he found there were a lot of educators in that group, and that became like a way for him to network. So there's a lot of ideas of how to network, right? Now I want to get into, if you're okay with me, an activity I did with them. And this can be an activity that you choose to do tonight, or it can be an activity that throughout the week, you give yourself a little homework assignment. You're like, hey, during a break on Tuesday or during my lunch on Wednesday, I'm going to do the challenge that Rae gave me. And to be fair, my challenge has 2 parts. So you might need to find 2 different opportunities, but this is a really great brain break for yourself. I know so many educators in this group feel like they're making 1,000 decisions in a minute in the classroom or in any role that you have. And you just constantly feel like you're buzzing around like a bee, running around. Like I always joke, like I feel like I'm running around with a chick with my head cut off. So this is a great opportunity to give yourself an activity to do later this week to take a brain break. Just like our kids, we need brain breaks as well to put our feet up or take a break to think about something other than the stress in our role. So here's one for you. I call it my 3 to 5 activity. And if you've taken the Academy course about social media in the Teach Better Academy, you've totally seen the 3 to 5 activity. But you may not have done it related to making a connection and being a lifelong learner. So stick with me. There are 2 different responsibilities that I'm going to ask you to take on this week. Both of them were related to making a list of 3 to 5 things. The first thing I want to ask you is when someone thinks of you, your name, when someone pictures you in their head, what are 3 to 5 things they want or you want them to think of? So when they say, I see Hannah in here. When they say, Hannah, and you pop into their brain, what are about the 3 to 5 overarching things you want them to associate with you? Now we can get into some specifics here in a minute. That's the first homework assignment. Make a list of 3 to 5 things you want people to affiliate with you when they think of you. Second is more outward. When you connect with somebody, what do you want to see from them? So meaning that when you're making your second list of 3 to 5 things, what does a good connection look like to you? What are 3 to 5 things that you're looking for or hoping for? So with these 2 lists that you're going to create, we're going to do some work with them, but let's talk about why it's valuable. So when we make connections, we want it to be effective and efficient. If we have 5 minutes to make a connection, I'm not going to waste the 5 minutes and then get nothing out of it. I have 100 other things to do. So if I'm intentionally going to find myself networking or forcing myself out of my comfort zone to make a connection, it better be a good one. So these 2 lists are actually going to help you ensure that you are getting the most out of a potential connection and that you're giving the most to that connection so they see you as valuable as well. So for example, these lists can change over time. For right now, it's November 6th, and you might have goals that you're looking for your connections to help you with in November that in February aren't going to be as relevant. Maybe right now you're looking for something really specific, or right now you actually aren't working on anything and you're looking for someone to entice you with a cool direction to go learn about some cool new educational initiative. I don't know, but your list can evolve over time. When I want you to make these 2 lists of 3 to 5 things, I want you to think about what you need in this immediate moment. Meaning that if I told you that I could introduce you to somebody right this moment, what would they be like? Who would they, what would they support you with? What kind of personality would they have? Would they be closed-minded or open-minded? Would you want somebody who's seen as an expert, or would you want somebody in the trenches? There's so many different things and types of connections that we can be making. And I think the biggest struggle with networking, and if you're listening on the podcast, I'm holding up like bunny ears, networking, the biggest struggle with connecting is, yes, there's some stress with maybe stepping out of your comfort zone and walking up to somebody in a large room and introducing yourself. But I think the spookiest part is not knowing what you can bring to the table and not knowing what they can do to help you. So it's a really effective connection. So as you're looking at these 2 lists, I hope you choose to do that today or later this week. create your list of 3 to 5. Your inward, what do you want people to see in you? And then outward, what are you hoping to get from your connections? And the hope would be that once you have that list, you maybe step slightly outside of your comfort zone, but you do it really effectively in finding those connections. So maybe you say, okay, Rae, I'm not a social media person. When I make connections, it's going to be at a conference event and it's going to be something that's really structured for me. So I don't need to step too far outside of my comfort zone. Fine, but make more of a plan than that. I'm going to set a goal to attend 3 conferences a year. Nope, that's not enough. I'm going to set a goal to go attend 3 conferences a year. And at each one of those conferences, I'm going to meet 3 people. Nope, that's not enough. I'm going to make a goal to attend 3 conferences a year. And at each one of those conferences, I'm going to meet 3 people. And when I mean I'm going to meet 3 people, I mean I'm going to get 3 emails from the people so that I have a way to contact them. No, that's not enough. Okay, wait. I'm setting a goal to attend 3 conferences a year. And when I attend those conferences, I'm going to meet 3 people at each one of those conferences. And when I meet those 3 people at each one of those conferences, I'm going to get an email address to connect with them. And then right after the conference, I'm going to email them so they also have my contact information. And I'm going to see if they can help me with anything on my list. Because I already have 3 to 5 things I'm looking for in somebody. So I know that I have 3 to 5 things that I can reach out to them via email and ask a question about. Something that might be on your 3 to 5 list could be that you're looking for someone who's open-minded, or looking for somebody who's innovative, or looking for somebody maybe more specific, like who's an expert in evaluating grading practices. Whatever's on your 3 to 5 list, that's then the contact. Hey, do you know anything about this? Do you have any interest in this topic? Do you know anybody who's really cool in this topic? Or have you read a book about this idea? So when you set these goals for yourself, it's not just a fingers crossed mentality, but you're really allowing yourself to be successful and giving yourself a structure that when you have the time to do it, it's efficient and effective for what you need. Kind of interesting. An equivalent could be, if you're looking to be on social media, committing to, okay, I'm going to set a goal to being on social media to make intentional connections for 15 minutes a week. No, that's not enough. Okay, I'm going to log into a specific social media platform every single week for 15 minutes, and I'm going to connect with 3 people. No, not enough. I'm going to commit to signing into a social media platform, a specific social media platform for 15 minutes every single week and connect with 3 people and direct message them something I saw on their profile that I thought was interesting, or something they shared recently in their social media that I found interesting. Again, we're just brainstorming ways to make connections. So whatever you decide to do, this is really what we're looking to accomplish. And the reason I wanted to share this with you today is because personally, and I'm sharing my biased opinion, I think October is the hardest month of the school year outside of February. We'll just stick with October. And so now it's November. And I know it's silly because maybe it's not different, but the fact that I can finally put in my calendar that it's November gives me hope. Holidays are just around the season. And I am literally being a goof watching Hallmark movies in a hospital room with my grandma. And whatever joy we can bring to our November, let us be more efficient, more effective, and hopeful in our process. So if nothing else today, I hope that this little tidbit gave you a little bit of boost to choose to be a connected educator. And by making that choice, not just doing it blindly, but really believing that this is an opportunity to go do something that you will then find meaning in because you've done it with intention. Because all of us have the opportunity to make incredible connections. And the best ways for us to ensure that these connections happen is by making sure that we understand what we can bring to the table, what we're looking for the other person to get out of it. So I will be right back to wrap up our Sunday weekly warm up. Thanks for sticking with us. All right, friends, it is Sunday, so we are live for our Sunday weekly warm up. Thank you to those of you who have chosen to join us live. We come live for the show every single Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern to do a quick little show, typically with Brad Hughes. And sometimes we're able to have a guest with us to be able to highlight how we can get you set up and all warmed up for a great week ahead. As I shared earlier, unfortunately, Brad Hughes is sick and definitely needs to be resting, but he hopefully will be back next week for the show. And if you have a moment or any interest, go send Brad Hughes like the best green heart emoji you can find. Obviously, Brad is available on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere else. So you can also email him if that's more your vibe. His email is just his name, brad@teachbetter.com. I know Brad will love seeing all the green heart love as he continues to rest up for a healthy week ahead. And I know we had a guest that had tech issues this afternoon, but we will absolutely rebook him. He was an incredible educator that I'm not going to spoil for you now, but I promise we only love to bring you great people to add to your PLN. So we really appreciate those of you that choose to tune in and connect with the educators here. I know so many of you have been active in the chat, so thank you so much. I'm like scrolling through and seeing all the fun names now. I see Hannah's in here. Dr. Neil Gupta's in the house. I mean, this is all good things. So I'm so glad you were able to also connect with one another, because that's really what is kind of the blessing of the Sunday weekly warm up, is that we are able to stream exclusive to our private Facebook group. And our private Facebook group is full of educators that not only can engage with those on the screen, but also engage with one another. In addition to that, this episode will stream live to our full network over on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn tomorrow night. But the comments, unfortunately, will be turned off because all of us right here are live. And so if you want to participate live, you got to be in our private Facebook group on Sunday nights. Additionally, of course, this becomes an episode of Teach Better Talk podcast, just like always. So for those of you who are podcast listeners, go make sure that you are subscribed to Teach Better Talk podcast. We'd also really love for you to leave a review if any of you are interested in like throwing a review in the old podcast system. I live on podcasts these days, especially since my drive over the last week. I've been driving to go spend some time with my grandmother, and it's about an hour drive each way. And so I've been like really loving upping my podcast game, because that's what I feel like I lost by changing my commute over the last few years. Is my podcast listening has like severely gone down. I know Dr. Neil Gupta, who's in the comments, we used to talk all the time, and we used to talk during our commutes. And so when him and I stopped commuting around to our roles, we kind of stopped chatting as much too. And so I think it's so funny as we reflect on how we use our time intentionally. I have definitely been using my drive time to be listening to podcasts, which has been kind of fun. So I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday ahead. If you need anything, please make sure that you reach out to us. I know our team is all over the place and supporting teachers across US and Canada, but please know that if you need something, we are here for you. We are just one quick message away. And if you do your 3 to 5 challenge, those 2 lists that we talked about earlier in the show, I'd really love if you would share it with me. Only so, I don't know, maybe I'll change up my list because you have some great suggestion, or maybe you have an element of your list that you want to get feedback on. I'd love to help. My biggest tip for those lists is to give yourself the flexibility to change them as needed, and also be as general as you choose to be. I think my list right now is relatively general. I don't think they're very specific, but I really hold true to this being my filter system to finding the best contacts possible. So people that are open-minded and transparent and authentic and amplify voices of others, like that's the kind of stuff I'm putting on my list these days. So excited to see what's on all of yours. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye, friends.